welcome back to Kiss Final TV. Today, S is the best and D is the lowest. Okay, so let's just start off here. So for my lowest album in the D tier, I'm just gonna put Sonic Boom in here, just because I'm not really a big fan of this album. I know that a lot of people like it. It's usually they're around their midpoint on their ranking scale, but I feel like the songs aren't as good on here as, say, the 70s, 80s, or 90s, and I have nothing against the new lineup. I actually don't mind them, but yeah, overall it's not a very strong album, although there are really good songs like Modern Day Delilah, Say Yeah, there's a few other good songs on there, but yeah. I think that's really the only one that deserves to be in the D tier. Moving up to the C tier, we have Monster, which is the second and last album with the current lineup. So, it looks like they put like the West Germany logo on there. It's kind of cool. Yeah, kind of same problem. Songs aren't as good, but I think this is actually a decent album. I can put it on, and I have to skip over a few songs that aren't that great, but overall, I think it's a really good album. Or not really good, but it's a good album, and it's decent. So, yeah, I don't mind that one. Wall of Sound, Out of This World are both really good songs, and All for the Love of Rock and Roll, a good song. Heller, Hallelujah, really good song. Overall, there's quite a few good songs on there, actually. Okay, what else will go in this tier? I actually don't know. Let's see. No, actually, we're gonna put Psycho Circus in here. Psycho Circus, another one that's usually around this point on people's ranking lists. It just doesn't feel like it's complete. I kind of wish all the main members or original members played on every single track, but it's not even just that. It's also some songs that aren't that good, and this is their third last studio album, and I feel like by then the songs were dropping in quality, and I think the 70s and 80s and the early 90s had way better quality than this. Although I gotta say, I do like quite a few songs on here. I'd still probably give this 6 out of 10. Into the Void's my favorite song off here, which is the Ace song and the only song that everyone played on. And I think that may be all for that tier. Okay, moving on to the next one, we have Hot in the Shade. Hot in the Shade, a lot of people don't like. It's usually their least favorite album, or close to. I actually like this album. I think it's a pretty cool album. I got the limited edition 30th anniversary colored vinyl, and it sounds great. And I understand that there are a lot of tracks on this, and it can be, a lot of them are considered filler, but I think quite a few songs are pretty good. I like Read My Body, Rise to It, Forever, the ballad. I like Boomerang, which I know a lot of people don't like. I like the Eric Carr song, the only song that he sung, Little Caesar. This was also Eric Carr's last album, but overall I think it's a pretty good album. Yeah, so moving on, in here we also have Carnival of Souls. Carnival of Souls is a really good album. I really like it. I'm not going to go too in-depth with this one, but this is like their grunge album, and it's kind of more heavy than the rest of them, and there's quite a few good songs on here, actually. I like pretty much all the first side and most of the second side. But yeah, my favorites probably It Never Goes Away, Jungle, Hate Rain, Master and Slave is really good. I was never really into Childhood's End, but I don't know, maybe in the future I'll get into it. And then also in here we have Asylum, which a lot of people say is underrated, and they put pretty higher on their list, but I don't know. I do agree that's kind of underrated, but I think they have better material than this personally. But yeah, I think it's a decent album. That's why it's in the middle. So yeah, first song, King of the Mountain's amazing. Tears Are Falling, the hit off this. I can't remember too many songs from this. I haven't listened to this one in a while, so maybe it doesn't deserve to be here, but it's still a good album. And then also in here, there's so many albums by them. I think that may be all for there. By the way, I'm not doing the solo albums in this, although they are, down here, but yeah. So, moving on to next here, we have Crazy Nights. Crazy Nights. Crazy Nights, I think, is really underrated. There's actually a lot of good songs on here. Almost the whole album I really like. No No No's one of my favorite songs, the awesome intro. We got Crazy Nights, My Way, Hell or High Water, I'll Fight Hell to Hold You, Reason to Live, the ballad, which is amazing. And I don't mind their late 80s hair metal stuff. And yeah, I think that's a really good album that a lot of people don't like. It's very underrated. Moving on, we also have Lick It Up in here. By the way, I'm not doing this really in order. I'm just putting them in these categories. They aren't in order. Like, it doesn't go Sonic Boom, Monster, Psycho Circus, Hot in the Shade, and so on. This is just how I'm putting them in there, just because I see them. Lick It Up is the sister album, pretty much, to Creatures of the Night, and it's a really good album. I can't say too much about it. Sorry, I just have something on my screen. I'm moving things. Anyway, but my favorite songs, All Hell's Breaking Loose, Lick It Up, Exciter's really good, On the Eighth Day. What other songs are off here? Oh, there's one I'm blanking on. Young and Wasted is probably my favorite off here, tied with All Hell's Breaking Loose, but this is their first non-makeup album, and yeah. Oh, I clicked on an ad. Okay, good. Okay, it's saved. But yeah. And then next up in here we have Dynasty. Dynasty is their last 70s album and is considered their disco album, although I wouldn't consider it a disco album. There are 2 disco songs on here. I Was Made for Loving You, maybe Sure Know Something, or maybe Peter Criss's song, Dirty Living. But overall, I think this is a really cool album. Ace has 2 awesome songs on here. He has the cover of the Rolling Stones song 2000 Man, which he sounds great on. His vocals are really great. Peter Criss only played 1 song on this, sadly, although he is on the cover. But this was pretty much Peter Criss's last album, although he would be featured on the next album cover. But yeah, I think this is a really good album. And my favorite song off here is Hard Times by Ace Frehley, which is the second song that I was going to talk about. And yeah, I really don't have a problem with it. I think it's a really good album. Next up we have Kiss in here. So these are my great albums, and then S's are like my favorite ones. Kiss debut album, amazing, packed full with hits right from the beginning, and pretty much the whole album is their fan favorites mixed with their hits that would go on to be on Alive and become radio and concert staples. So again, awesome album. Not much to say about that. Next up, we're gonna put Hotter Than Hell up here, which I know surprisingly, is actually a lot of people's number 1, which I wasn't actually expecting, and I've been watching a lot of these ranking videos lately, and it seems like a lot of people like this one, and I do too, although it's not my favorite. It's probably my second favorite. I don't know, maybe Dressed to Kill is my favorite out of the first 3, although Hotter Than Hell is maybe tied with Kiss debut album for second, but anyway, really good album. Has a cool dark sound to it. My favorite song is probably Parasite, Hotter Than Hell, Let Me Go Rock and Roll, Going Blind is really cool. I don't know, there's a ton of good songs. Unplugged version of Going Blind is really good too. And what else are we going to put in here? I think we're going to put one more in here. We're going to put Revenge in here, which I know is a lot of people's favorite non-makeup album. And it's not for me, but it's one of my favorite of the 90s, obviously. As you can see, I already put all the 90s ones down now. But this is a heavier album that was produced with Bob Ezrin, who worked on earlier albums with them, such as Destroyer, and I believe Music from the Elder, although I may be wrong. But this is an amazing album, especially coming after a time that they weren't doing very well, like with Crazy Nights and Hot in the Shade. And I like how they went from having Hot in the Shade with 15 tracks, because that was the first CD album. I like how they brought it down quite a bit here and didn't include as many tracks. And I think that gave strength to the album. This amazing ballad, Every Time I Look at You, Heart of Chrome is great. God Gave Rock and Roll to You is great. There's just so many good songs on here. Moving on to the S tier, I have a lot. I have my favorite album, Dressed to Kill. I'm going to talk about these in pairs. I have Rock and Roll Over, which is my second favorite, and I have Love Gun, which is my third favorite. These are all amazing albums. These are all solid albums. There's not really one song that I don't like on any of them. I'm just going to name my favorite, like 2 songs off each, because I'm kind of running out of time, and I need to keep this video kind of short. But Dressed to Kill, Love Her All I Can, and Rock and Roll All Night Long are probably my favorite, because they're my first Kiss songs I ever heard. Rock and Roll Over, I Want You is probably one of my favorites, and maybe Calling Dr. Love. It's really hard to pick from these, because these are my top 3 favorite albums. And then Love Gun, Shocking Me, maybe Tomorrow and Tonight, but those are really good albums. Next up, I'm going to put my 80s ones in, which are all really underrated albums in my opinion. All of these, I pretty much love every single song on. Animalize, a lot of people say there isn't enough Gene Simmons, but I actually don't agree with that. I think the songs that he put on here are actually really good, and I really don't have a problem with them. But overall, it's a really good album, and the only one with Mark St. John, so that's kind of special. So that one's good. Music from the Elder is a concept album that a lot of people didn't like, and I admit they did change their sound quite a bit, although I think it sounds pretty cool. And my favorite songs off there are probably maybe I don't know, pretty much every single song. Maybe the one song that isn't my favorite would be Just a Boy, but it's growing on me. I'm not going to say it's a bad song. It's probably my least favorite out of all of the amazing songs on there. And then Unmasked, considered their poppy album, their pop rock album. It's a really good album. Awesome album cover too. And yeah, I love all the Ace songs on there, which a lot of people don't like. But yeah, I really like that album. Next up, we're going to put Creatures of the Night, which is by far one of their best 80s albums. Vinnie Vincent's playing on this is amazing, even though Ace credited on the cover. And I mean, there's about 40 billion musicians that were on this record, but I think it's a completely solid album. I don't have a problem with any of these songs. And I just realized that I still have Destroyer, which I'm actually going to put in A tier. I know it would be number 1 or close to number 1 for most people, but I don't know. I actually like every song on here, even Great Expectations. I actually don't mind, but I just like the feel of the other albums more. So just look up Kiss Albums Tier List Maker, and then you can do this one for yourself. But I thought it was pretty fun to do, and thank you.